Hey guys, Jay here, and in this video I'm styling a wig for Hajime from Arifureta. The base wig I'm using is the Aether, or I don't know how that's pronounced, from Epic Cosplay, and I'll link it down in the description. The good thing is that this wig is basically the correct length already. It's not the right length all around, but where the ends fall on my face is nearly perfect. It's really hard to explain, whatever. The hardest part for me when wig styling is making the base length, where it falls on your face, the right length. For example, for a character whose side bangs need to be only an inch or so down in front of your ear, a wig that might be 5 inches or so down, you need to cut that. And that kind of thing is what I'm talking about being the correct length already. As you can see here, I am using a razor blade to cut it. Now, I have experience doing this, so it's safer for you if you use the tool that I listed in the description. It's a comb that has a razor blade in it, and it does the exact same thing, but it's just a lot safer. Please use that instead. I use this over the entire wig except for the main length that I mentioned, because I need to shorten the rest of the wig on top. So I just go over it until I like what I'm seeing. Once I get the basic needed length down, I can use hairspray to start fluffing up the wig. And I don't want to spike it into separate spikes, since his hair doesn't do that. It's actually more just super messy, so after spraying with the hairspray, I just run my fingers up through it to push the hair up a bit, and then sort of just mess with the hair, like I just mess it up. You can see that I'm pushing up, and then I'm using my fingers to lightly push it back down a bit, so that it's not as upward as it was, I guess. It's really hard to explain, sorry, but you can see what I'm doing, and I'm sure you can easily grasp what I'm talking about. One thing to note is that at the crown of the head, which is on your head, that's where your hair seems to part in all directions, it starts off more on the left side of his head. The wig, however, starts basically dead center, so I have to force it to part differently, and I do this by combing that section over where I want the part to be. And then I use the hair dryer on the highest setting and hold it up against the hair. Since wigs are just plastic fibers, they can be melted with enough heat, but just the right amount of heat will soften the plastic up and let you be able to mold it. This is what's happening here. So once it cools down, it'll stay in place. And on wigs like this, it's a bit poofy and doesn't lay flat, but honestly, that's fine, because that's actually what his hair looks like. So after that, I just continue with what I was doing. Every so often, I go back and cut a little more where needed, and then style where it looks good, until I get the results I like. I also sort of make little spikes within the floofiness, so there's at least some definition and separation. And I did this at complete random spots that just looked like they would be good. And then after all this was done, I move on to the bangs and sideburns. Yes, I know I did say these sections were already the right length. I'm not really removing much. The sideburns, I actually ended up deciding that I wanted to remove about 1/4 of an inch. But that's it. The bangs were more just being defined and shaped. I used the razor blade again to thin everything out, as well as I used the scissors, which, yeah, I know these are sewing scissors, but these aren't good for fabric anymore. They're really dull. They're just barely good enough to cut a wig, though. Also, I don't have my hair cutting ones at the moment, so meh. Anyway, I did actually shorten the bangs right where it goes over your eyes, though. That makes it easier for this kind of style to work without poking you in the eye, so yeah. Basically, the shape of this is if you trace out the outline of the edge of the bangs, it kind of makes the McDonald's M arches, kinda. For the center, I use the hairspray and my hands to make one large flat chunky spike thingy, and then the cut sections over the eyes each got this same treatment. Then the sideburns were layered to taper down to the tips. This just makes him look nicer, and is actually, again, what his hair looks like. I also didn't define any more clumps. I just kinda let it do its own thing. However, I did use the straightener on multiple areas. The sideburns really needed it, and the bangs kind of needed it. And then I used it randomly on some of the separated areas on the top sides of the head to give a few of the spikes a slight curl so they weren't all going the exact same way, and this helps make it look a lot messier, which only makes this more accurate. But once I was done with that, the wig was finished.